There is right and there is wrong. It's a very easy thing to say. It's a different thing to put it into practice, and sometimes we find ourselves living in the areas of the gray. We find ourselves saying, "Well, what about this and what about that?" And that whole world of nuance is a place that I enjoy very, very much. I find it important to be able to note moments where nuance is necessary. I am also somebody who is so unbelievably bothered by unenforced errors that people will do to themselves, inflict upon themselves for no reason other than they're being too cute by half. In the case of President Trump having dinner with Kanye West and Nick Fuentes, there is no reason Donald Trump had dinner with Nick Fuentes at the table. If he didn't know who he is, he should have found out who he is. His staff should have known who he is. There's simply not an excuse that works for me. And I get it. People are going to say to me, "Oh, Tony, you're just never Trump." And then, well, all right, I guess I lose out on a viewer to videos and I lose out on a listener to the radio show. And the answer is, okay, Trump never should have had the dinner. He should have left the dinner. And that's the end of that. Welcome to the show, everybody. Good to be with you. I'm Tony Katz, and that is the sponsor, Americans for Prosperity, AmericansForProsperity.org. He was going to have dinner with Kanye West. Now, is Kanye an anti-Semite? Well, holy crap, man. He certainly hasn't had a good month and a half. Now, has he? He has a relationship with Trump, has a relationship with Kanye. Certainly they spent time when he was in the Oval Office and, trying to get some legislation through and the First Step Act and on all these kinds of things. So if you told me that Trump was having dinner with Kanye, I would say to myself, I don't think I'm doing that. But you can almost, and I said this on the radio shows, you can understand it. Trump is a very, very loyal guy. And when somebody has done something for him, he appreciates that. That is his love language. What did you do for me? That's absolutely who he is. I've never not understood who Trump is and what Trump is all about. What did you do for me is the key question. That's who he is. I established the first two rules of Trumpism. The first rule of Trumpism is that Trump wins. And the second rule of Trumpism is that a deal can always be made as long as it adheres to the first rule of Trumpism. There is another rule that Trump's loyalty is absolutely one way. But every now and then he'll say something, he'll do something, and he'll be like, this is a guy who was good to me. I'm going to be good to him. This is a guy who endorsed me. I'm going to endorse him. He is that transactional. So if you said to me that Trump was going to have dinner with Kanye West, I'd be like, all right. He thinks Kanye West got himself into a bunch of trouble, talking about going DEFCON 3 on the Jews and talking about Jews controlling the media and how they're trying to silence him and they're taking away his livelihoods. And Trump's like, hey, I can help this guy. That's a very, very Trump thing. I am not surprised by that. There's also a conversation in there about when a friend has done something wrong, do you just drop them? And the answer is, well, not in society. We don't actually do that. What about the whole concept of an intervention? You have somebody who has an alcohol problem or a drug problem, and they've done this wrong and they've done that wrong, and a group of friends gets together to say, dude, you need to go get some help. We do that all the time. Now, if you want to argue that it wasn't an intervention from Trump, that's fine. But conceptually, I can see that. Now, maybe that's a nuanced position. I am not condoning what Kanye West said. I don't think this Jewish guy right here in front of you is going to do that. What I said is, those were dumb things to say. I don't know what in the bloody hell Kanye West's problem is. The guy's really got a problem with Jews, and I just wrote him off. Boop, I was done. But I have absolutely no personal connection to Kanye whatsoever. Trump's like, I can help this guy. In the nuance, okay. And I think some people would disagree with me on that because, Tony, you wouldn't have dinner with Louis Farrakhan. I wouldn't have dinner with that anti-Semitic bigot. No chance, no how, no way. No way. But with Kanye, I only know about the last month and a half. Louis Farrakhan, I have an entire life of his Jew hatred, of calling Jews termites, talking about Hitler as a very great man. I have that. Kanye going through a thing, maybe. Kanye just saying something. Was he just angry about something? I don't want to somehow defend Kanye's statements. He has to live with that. He has to live with that, like Will Smith has to live with the slap at the Oscars, like you and I may have to live with things that have happened to us, just maybe in a different scale and maybe not as public, or maybe rather public. Kanye's got to live with that. Kanye's got to figure his way out of that. Or do I call him Ye? I don't know what the rules are. Me, I don't. I don't know the guy. I don't have to defend the guy, and I'm not defending Kanye West. I am saying that as a matter of nuance, I could see Trump having dinner with him. I could see it. And I could see that someone saying, hey, man, the whole world's attacking you. I want to be a friend. You gotta make some changes in your life is something that friends do. And the idea that somehow not something friends do is very, very weird to me. It's a very strange thing because we talk about it. We glorify it all the time. But you can't get me to understand how the hell Nick Fuentes was there. I have said on my radio shows that the amount I know about Nick Fuentes couldn't fill a thimble. Like, I don't still know anything about the dude. I know that he had some level of fame, and I know that he's a Holocaust denier. I know that he's got I'm going to say problems with Jews, and I just paid him no mind. I dismissed the bigot, and I moved on with my day. That's the total extent of what I know about Nick Fuentes. But the minute I found out who he was, I'm not having dinner with the dude. Which brings us to how in the world did Donald Trump end up at this dinner with Nick Fuentes there? First, so we're clear, Kanye brought Nick Fuentes. That's now you know that that Kanye West is actually a diehard. He's down for this. He's got a problem with Jews. That's who he is. That's who he's always going to be. This is a bad sign. Even if Trump was saying, hey, I can help this guy, and he brings this guy to the dinner, all right, that's the end of that, and the dinner gets canceled. But Trump sat at the dinner. So one has to question, what did Trump know about Nick Fuentes? Let's make an argument. Let's make an argument that he didn't know anything at all about Nick Fuentes. Not a single thing. He had never heard of Nick Fuentes. He doesn't know who Nick Fuentes is. It's just a guy sitting at the table. How the hell did the guy get at the table? Can you or I decide we're just going to make an appointment to have dinner with Donald Trump in Mar-a-Lago, wherever it was? The answer is no. The answer is no. We can't do this. If you're going to get in to see the former president who still has Secret Service protection, you're going to go through some level of background check. In the times that I have visited the White House, you got to send in all the paperwork. You got to do the whole thing. Absolutely you do. Goes without question. You're going to sit for dinner and the staff doesn't know who Kanye's bringing? How is that even possible? I argue it's not possible. It's impossible that the entirety of Trump's inner orbit, the entirety of his staff didn't know who this guy is. Nobody said, hey, Kanye, who's that? Oh, that's Nick Fuentes. And someone didn't go, excuse me, and then do a search on Nick Fuentes. That's impossible. That's impossible. It didn't happen. So I am left with the realization that there's simply no way that Trump didn't know who he was, because if he didn't know who he was, his staff is the single most incompetent group of people on planet Earth. And that's saying something, because there's the Biden administration by which you can then weigh yourself against. If Trump knew who he was, you get up and you leave. And then you have the staff say, sorry, Kanye, you and this guy got to go. And you say, you know what? I wanted to help a friend, but then he brought this guy. Whoo, I ain't going to be around that. That guy ain't welcome in Mar-a-Lago. I was trying to do some looking up of Nick Fuentes, and I came across a video. I came across a video of him. He had gotten kicked out. I remember this is the last time I heard about him. He had gotten kicked out of a Turning Point USA conference, which it's their right. They can kick people out if they choose. It's their conference. And this guy had this gaggle of people around him, and he's on a street corner. And then on the other street corner, crossing the street to make his way towards this hotel, is Ben Shapiro. And this guy is going, Ben, like he cares about Ben Shapiro at all. And it's a street. So he starts walking. Ben Shapiro is walking. Ben Shapiro just walks right by him. This guy wants to talk to him, turns around and tries to talk to Ben Shapiro, and Ben just keeps walking. What I left out of that is that Ben Shapiro was with his family. Ben Shapiro was pushing a freaking stroller. His kid inside the stroller. And this guy, Nick Fuentes, wants to turn around with his gaggle and follow him. And I assume his wife and his kid and other family, maybe people around him. And Nick Fuentes and this group, I don't know, 6 guys, 8 guys, 10 guys, from the video angles, I don't know how many people were there following him. That's a scumbag. I remember when Alex Jones, I saw the video. This was the DNC, Democratic National Convention, Denver, where Barack Obama was getting the nomination, I believe it was. And there's Alex Jones screaming about Michelle Malkin. Now, if you've never met Michelle Malkin is this tall. And there's Alex Jones following Michelle Malkin around, screaming and yelling. You know what I said about Alex Jones at the time? What a scumbag. He's with his wife. He's with his kids. And you're going to turn around and follow him? You're a scumbag. You want to engage him in conversation? He's with his family. You're a scumbag. That's my take on Nick Fuentes. A scumbag of a guy. Now, I found that video as I heard about the story last night and then really started looking at it this morning. I found that video in 15 seconds. I found it in no time at all. No one in the Trump orbit found that video? I don't even know what to say about that. That is so incompetent as to be believed. Now, Christopher here is asking the right question. How do you get the endorsement from the Republican Jewish Coalition and you know what on them? I'm confused. Trump moving the embassy to Jerusalem was the right move. The Abraham Accords are incredibly well done and have reset the stage for the concepts of Israeli security and Middle East peace. They have. It's not a debatable subject. That's why I started with the conversation of the unforced error. I hate them. Unforced errors, I relate to the idea of MMA, mixed martial arts, UFC, the most famous of this, Bellator, Strikeforce. No one goes down from one leg kick. No one goes down from one leg. It would have to be one heck of a kick. But the accumulation of leg kicks render an opponent incapable of fighting. They cannot get their stance. They cannot get their balance. They cannot turn the hips to properly throw the punch to get the maximum amount of force. They cannot move. It's never just one kick. It's the accumulation of those kicks that render that opponent absolutely incapable of fighting. I relate that to unforced errors. Enough of those will render you incapable of fighting. This was beyond unforced error. This was a ridiculous, bad, pathetic move, either on Trump's part or on the part of his staff. Now, this was MSNBC talking about it. I know, but just watch and listen.
Like, this isn't somebody, Nick Fuentes, who is dancing around anti-Semitism. This is somebody who is openly and outwardly anti-Semitic, and I can't understand how there is no gray area here with this person. So I don't quite. And frankly, by the way, Nicole, there's no gray area with Kanye West at the moment either. So
right.
And he did know he was having dinner with Kanye West, and Kanye West has been openly anti-Semitic over the last couple of weeks. Just my last point here: Ben Shapiro, who is probably not often quoted on this network or many networks as saying something that a lot of people will agree with. He said the best way to not have a dinner with an anti-Semite you don't know is to not have a dinner with an anti-Semite you do know. So I thought that was actually a pretty useful point.
It was a good tweet.
I don't argue the point being made. Never should have had the dinner with Kanye West. But as a guy who understands Trump, I think I understand his maneuver there. If he saw him as a friend in need and wanted to be a friend who did engage in outreach, that's what he did. And you can argue that, man, I wouldn't have done that because politically it's not worthwhile. Trump doesn't think like that. And there's no doubt that what Kanye has said is reprehensible. I don't doubt that. I say it clearly without any hesitation. And it's always interesting that when I have these conversations and people know that I'm Jewish, somehow they think I'm a traitor or I'm not serious. I don't actually care. Oh, it's Trump. I'll do anything to save Trump. No part of that is true. Absolutely no part of that is true. I get told that I'm a Trump hater and that I'm a supporter of Trump to the end, all in the same day. It's precious. It really and truly is. But I can make an argument about the Kanye thing. And people can be like, yeah, I don't accept that argument. I can appreciate that all too well. Maybe you met with him just to say, what's wrong with you? What are you talking about? You know, everything you're saying is ridiculous, bigoted crap, right? It's bigoted nonsense crap. What the hell are you doing? Friends don't talk to friends like that when they make a mistake. And then if after that nothing changes, well, then you can drop a friend. Some people want to at least try, like the intervention. I'm not saying no to this. I'm saying that that's very true. But there's no explaining the Nick Fuentes stuff. There's just no explaining it. Then, of course, it gets to this. This is Mike. Is it possible that Nick Fuentes interjected at that dinner for political reasons to damage Trump? Now we're asking the question, did Kanye West want to sabotage Trump? If that's the case and Trump wasn't aware of that, well, that's a whole different thing now, isn't it? Because it could be taken as, I tried to help this guy and look at what he did. But you sat there and had dinner. No one told you. You didn't know. You didn't ask a question. You didn't wonder. You're at this level and you're having dinner with people you don't know. It's not like you walked into a diner and people are like, oh my gosh, Donald Trump. And you sat down with a couple. You know, just sat down with these two people and you found out that one of them was a member of the Communist Party. You didn't know. You walked into to the diner and you sat down and people were talking to Trump and whatever the case may be. I made up the moment. This is your house. This is a place you have full control over. And there just ain't no excuse. There's no excuse. He should have left the dinner, and that's the end of that. And does this hurt him? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, it hurts him. Now, there are going to be people who engage politically. Of course, I've got former Vice President Pence here saying Trump should apologize for dining with Nick Fuentes. The problem, Mr. Vice President, is that the apology ain't going to work. Trump has, over his career, denounced white nationalists on numerous occasions. They never give him credit for it. He totally did it. The conversation's over now. The conversation's over. There's nothing to defend. Nothing to defend here. You announce you're running for president of the United States, and 3 weeks later, you're doing this. This is the unforced error that is going to allow, if you will, or decide, maybe better said, for Republicans to say, where's Ron DeSantis? Anyone seen Ron? It's Ronnie, run a lot of ding dong. Come on, Ron. Where do I make the? Hold on. Where's my pen? I make the check. It's a DeSantis, a capital S, DeSantis, and then that's it. That's the ball game. I don't think people understand to the levels to which that this is going to be a fair amount of the ball game. Now, I'm old enough to know that politics are strange and things do change and people do have short memories. I don't plan on having a short memory here. This not only goes to why in the world, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with your staff? This goes to a question of how can you even think of asking for my vote when you can't figure out your associations? I don't vote for communists or people who hang out with communists. I don't vote for people who hang out with anti-Semites. When Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, it was found, was having conversations with Jeremy Corbyn, that Jew hater from the UK, I said it was wrong and I said I'm done with her, but I was already done with her. But you get my point. When Ilhan Omar is saying that Jews are paying off members of Congress, right? Because they're blind. It's all about the Benjamins, right? I said I'm done with her. When Rashida Tlaib, the congresswoman from Michigan, took a Post-it note, wrote Palestine on it, and put it over Israel on her map on the wall when she first got to Congress, I said I'm done with her. I'm done. They showed me who they are, and they continue to show me who they are. This is just a move that simply can't get my forgiveness. Now, maybe it doesn't need my forgiveness. Maybe it wasn't done to me. So therefore, why would I be in a position to forgive anything or anyone about it? But if you think I'm thinking about Trump for 2024, I'm not right now. No, that's not the way I say it. I'm not. Just not. This was a move that was unnecessary and ridiculous. This was a move that could have and should have been well avoided. And yes, if Kanye brought him and you found out, you end the meal. You get up and you walk out. He didn't know. His team didn't know. I'll let them try and explain it from now until the end of time. Trump should have left the dinner, and that's the end of that. And as far as I'm concerned, as I look into 2024, I'm looking in a lot of other directions. It's just the way it is. And I know I'm going to get burned for this, and I'm going to get, beat up for it. And that's that. I'm fully aware. But I just can't worry about it. Can't and won't. That's the end of that. Racing there on Rumble said, dumb, stupid, dumb, stupid. Do not do this again, President Trump. Yeah, but I'm not gonna forget the first one. I'm just not gonna. I'm not gonna forget it. If Trump just said Nick is not a white nationalist, then all would be fixed. No, no, and no. That is not it. Now, Chris is asking, what about Obama's preacher in Chicago? Oh, there's a lot of places where you can find bigotry. The difference in these conversations is the press covers some and not the others. The press doesn't cover Representative Ilhan Omar's bigotry or Representative Rashida Tlaib's bigotry. That doesn't mean that I haven't covered it. That the press does cover things about Trump is inconsequential to whether or not I'm discussing it, or you, or we make decisions about it. Remember, I don't vote for people who hang out with or support communists either. I'm a boy with some rules. Got to have standards in this world. Got to have them. Guys, I appreciate you being here, being with me, being with the show, presented by Americans for Prosperity, americansforprosperity.org. That's it. Free speech, economic liberty. I like that. I like both those things quite a bit. Leave your comments on Rumble, rumble.com/Tony Katz. Do not forget to subscribe on Rumble, rumble.com/Tony Katz. And you can find absolutely everything at Locals. TonyKatz.locals.com. TonyKatz.locals.com is where you find it all right there. Guys, I appreciate you. And I hope you appreciate the honesty. I'll catch you later. Take care, guys.